Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome back to a video that's not live. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So yes, Zack Snyder quotes Joseph Campbell. This was posted right after Restore the Snyderverse trended by over 100k tweets. So I'm not well versed in Joseph Campbell quotes, but we're going to give it a read. This is the picture he posted with it. Very, very interesting. This was going to be the original thing we would have seen at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. You can see a green flash there. So we're in a free fall into future. We don't know where we're going. Things are changing so fast. And always when you're going through a long tunnel, anxiety comes along. And all you have to do to transform your hell into a paradise is to turn your fall into a voluntary act. It's a very interesting shift of perspective, and that's all it is. Joyful participation in the sorrows, and everything changes. Now, this is very interesting. Let me try and translate what this means. We're all in a free fall into the future. Well, that's everyone, basically. We don't know where we're going. Basically, life is random and we don't know where we're going. Things are changing so fast. Basically, his career is moving along very quickly. Maybe to a new future away from the DCEU. And we're always, when you're going through a long tunnel, anxiety comes along. And all you have to do to transform your hell into paradise is to turn your fall into a voluntary act. He could be talking about making the decisions to expose things that happen privately between him and Warner Brothers, especially the Wayne T. Carr Green Lantern moment being taken away from him. It's a very interesting shift of perspective, and that is all it is. Joyful participation in the sorrows, and everything changes. So it's interesting. For me, it sounds like he's saying, look, guys, I did what I did. I made the decision, to be honest with you guys, what was going on behind the scenes during the development of the Snyder Cut. And I'm not talking about 2016 and 2017. I'm talking about when the actual Snyder Cut was greenlit. I decided to tell you guys what was going on. And basically, the consequences for that are what they are. He's talking about here, this is why I think this, is to turn you have to do to transform your hell into paradise is to turn your fall into a voluntary act. Now, that sounds like someone who's admitting that his conduct and tactics in terms of being honest with the public with what was going on behind the scenes, basically he voluntarily fucked up his future within the DCEU. Because as I've said before on this very, very, very channel, there was a situation, I believe, when it was still going to be episodic, that they were willing to restore the Snyderverse. And then they had the disagreement about Wayne T. Kerr's John Stewart. And I think maybe that's when everything changed. They said, no, put it as one episode. We're not interested anymore, Zack. We just can't work with you. I think that's what's happened. And that's what he means, turning your fall into a voluntary act. And I think that's what he means. He's talking about standing by his, morals and, saying, no, I don't want you to delete this. And they're saying, well, we have our reasons and we don't want John Stewart in your movie. You can see their side of it, but you can also see his side of it as well. So he's talking about his fall being a voluntary act. Very, very interesting, everyone. What do you make of that? That is a Joseph Campbell quote. Now, of course, Joseph Campbell is a big idol of Zack's. He's inspired by his speakings and his speeches and his quotes. And George Lucas was very inspired by Joseph Campbell. George Lucas worked very closely with Joseph Campbell. He wanted Joseph Campbell to tell him if he was getting Star Wars right. And Joseph Campbell said that the best student he ever had was George Lucas. Unfortunately for Zack, he never got to work with his hero, Joseph Campbell, but George Lucas certainly did. But those quotes are always very interesting, and it's telling. After seeing that 100k tweet trend, I think he's sadly coming out and saying, and people may think I'm wrong. I'm not saying this because I don't want the Snyderverse restored. Be very clear about that. It's just reading what's there. And what's there, and talking about your fall being voluntary. It's like he's saying, look, I made certain decisions. I've said and done certain things which have made my fall voluntary, which means there's no coming back from that. But I want to know what you think about this quote. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're translating it in another way. So comment down below. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tonight from 6:30 p.m. UK time. Check your local timings for Big Mouth Live. Until then, see you later. Adios.